You may not believe it, but this is the largest torture grinding mill in the world. It continuously spins for 24 hours to crush those who are guilty. This punishment is for those who are lazy while still alive. However, this is just one of the 7 terrifying punishments in hell. After death, a person must overcome the 7 challenges of hell in order to be reincarnated. Let's follow along to see how the other 6 punishments are just as horrifying. This firefighter accidentally had an accident while fighting a fire and fell from a great height. Before hitting the ground, he still tightly held the little girl he had just rescued in his arms. Despite direct contact with the ground, he felt no pain or any sensation at all. The firefighter sighed in relief and ran to provide assistance. But no matter how much he called, no one answered. At this moment, he heard someone calling his name. When he turned around, he saw 2 people in black standing there, smiling. The firefighter told them to go away, but they were looking at something that left him frozen in shock. It turned out that the firefighter's body was lying motionless on the ground, and his teammates were desperately trying to revive him. The firefighter had died, and these 2 people in black were here to take him away. The little girl was very happy because the sign she was holding said noble person. The soul of the firefighter had sacrificed himself heroically, which was why he had this sign. At this point, the firefighter kept retreating, not wanting to die so soon because he still had an elderly mother at home who needed care. But his body was suddenly sucked into a ball of light and then taken by Ja Hong to the gates of hell. Those who had just passed away were also there at the gate. Here, he had to go through the 7 sins trials, and Ja Hong would be reincarnated if he passed them. When the gate opened, a huge word justice appeared. Surprisingly, the first thing Ja Hong encountered was the sentence for murder. The 7 challenges in hell ranged from light to heavy, meaning that murder was the lightest crime for every soul that arrived there. Ja Hong was stunned and said, "I've never killed anyone." Then, the messenger Haewon explained that if you indirectly cause someone's death through your words or actions, you would still be guilty. Suddenly, the stone beneath his feet cracked and turned into a volcano, with lava where those sentenced would be thrown in and burned continuously. However, Ja Hong was confident that he would overcome this trial smoothly, but suddenly, the gatekeeper here yelled angrily and directly asked him why he didn't save his friend in the fire, indirectly causing his death. At this moment, Ja Hong didn't say anything until the messenger who protected him restored the truth. It turned out that the colleague had told Ja Hong to save others first. Although Ja Hong had saved 8 people, he was unable to save his friend in time. So, Ja Hong passed the first level. After that, they crossed the famous river by boat and reached the next level of hell. This challenge was for the lazy ones. But after the gatekeeper saw Ja Hong's good deeds, and knowing that he had spent his free time saving many animals from death, the gatekeeper did not reprimand him. In fact, she was touched by Ja Hong's positive attitude towards life. She clapped and asked him what had driven him to have such a positive attitude. Ja Hong's answer surprised everyone. "I did it for money." Upon hearing this, the gatekeeper became cold and wanted to push him to execution. Because in this challenge, besides punishing the lazy ones, anyone who is a slave to money would not escape. At that moment, Ja Hong looked down at a waterfall, and the scene before him was terrifying. It was a giant mill, with countless people running on it. Seeing this, the messenger Haewon immediately jumped down, pulling the raft to cover it, and then showed the gatekeeper Ja Hong's past deeds. It turned out that Ja Hong was very diligent. After work, he hurried to deliver food to a barbecue restaurant. On weekends, he had to clean the floors in public restrooms. He even drove at night to earn extra money, all for his sick mother and younger sibling who was still in school. The gatekeeper was moved by Ja Hong's situation and allowed him to pass the second challenge smoothly. They continued their journey, but on the way, an accident occurred. Ghosts started to block their path and attack them. At this point, the 2 messengers of hell took out their weapons to kill the ghosts, but there were too many of them and they were extremely dangerous. Fortunately, the messenger Haewon broke through the mountain wall to block them. Afterward, the messenger said that the ghosts had appeared because there was a soul in Ja Hong's family who had died unjustly. If it was not resolved in time, Ja Hong wouldn't be able to pass the next challenge. To find the truth, the messenger decided to return to the mortal world. He went to Ja Hong's house to investigate and discovered that the unjust soul was Ja Hang, Ja Hong's younger brother. He had become a homeless ghost, wandering everywhere. The messenger Haewon found out the truth. A few days ago, Ja Hang had been on duty when he was accidentally shot by a new recruit. He lost too much blood and passed out. When his superior arrived, Ja Hang was already motionless. Fearing it would affect his promotion, the superior and the colleague buried him alive, but they didn't know that Ja Hang was still alive despite being shot. He suffocated to death in an unjust manner. This incident made the messenger Haewon remember his own unjust death. Instead of destroying Ja Hang's soul, he decided to send him to hell to be reincarnated. But out of anger, Ja Hang always followed the new recruit. The recruit, feeling guilty, became drunk every day and threw away the map that marked where Ja Hang was buried. He planned to atone for his sins with his death. At this moment, Ja Heng knew that it wasn't the recruit's fault, so he begged the messenger to save him. "If you save this new recruit, I will follow you to hell." The recruit was saved, and Ja Hong's younger brother's unjust soul was resolved. But just then, Ja Hong's soul in hell encountered an issue. He was judged guilty in the lying challenge. This trial was handled by a little girl named Tyson. She didn't listen to Ja Hong's explanation and immediately ordered the ghostly trees to pull his tongue out. Since Ja Hong had lied while alive, he had to endure the punishment of having his tongue burned in hell. But at the crucial moment, the messenger summoned Ja Hong's karmic mirror. It turned out that over the years, even though Ja Hong worked hard, he always told his mother he was doing well to spare her worry. Hearing this, the gatekeeper girl was moved and stopped the punishment, allowing Ja Hong to pass the next level. Because Ja Hong had always lived sincerely, he easily passed the trials of betrayal and unjust acts in hell. However, Ja Hong was caught at the level of the violent hell because he had beaten his younger brother. The image appeared in great detail. This time, it would be hard for Ja Hong to escape punishment. The gatekeeper immediately read the punishment, and Ja Hong's soul fell directly into the abyss. The messenger Haewon couldn't make it in time to save him, so the two messengers beside him also decided to make a sacrifice. They wanted the gatekeeper to let Ja Hong pass the next level. If he was judged guilty in the next trial, they would accept the punishment together. But both of them knew Ja Hong couldn't pass this trial because not only had he beaten his younger brother, but he had also intended to kill his mother, which contradicted his true character. What had really happened? At this point, trouble came when Ja Hong's mother stormed into the military camp, holding a sign on her chest. She came to demand justice for her youngest son. The murderer, a lieutenant, saw her and immediately rushed over, pushing her to the ground, knocking her unconscious. Ja Heng witnessed this scene and became furious, glaring at the enemy. The rage started to boil over. Dust flew up, and his skin peeled off, turning him into a demon. Even if he could never reincarnate, he still had to protect his mother. In his madness, he began attacking the camp recklessly. Even though the messenger called out, Ja Heng didn't listen. In the whirlpool, he turned into a giant and quickly captured the murderer. The messenger Haewon immediately called for reinforcements. If Ja Heng didn't stop, his older brother's soul in hell would also be affected. At this point, Ja Heng pushed the female messenger away to fall into a pit. His younger brother's crimes would prevent him from reincarnating. The accompanying messenger couldn't save Ja Hong, so she called his younger brother's name. Thanks to that, the messenger Haewon quickly subdued Ja Heng. Suddenly, a giant object appeared in the Hell's Sands. This was the final challenge that all souls would go through. This level was for those who were unfilial to their parents. King Tariq ruled here and guarded the final gate of this trial. But suddenly, he declared that Ja Hong was unfilial and guilty. The messenger who had accompanied Ja Hong directly stood up to refute this. Ja Hong was very filial to his parents. King Tariq immediately summoned the karmic mirror to settle the dispute. It turned out that when Ja Hong was young, he had intended to suffocate his mother with a pillow. Although his paralyzed mother woke up at that time, she remained still because she accepted that her son would act. She knew that only when she left this world could she bring happiness and lessen the burden for her two children. At this moment, Ja Hong collapsed to the ground and knelt, saying he would accept the punishment and begged to see his mother one last time to confess his wrongdoing. But King Tariq didn't give him the opportunity and immediately read the verdict. Suddenly, the ground shook, and Ja Hong's mother's face slowly appeared from beneath the sand. It turned out that Ja Heng's soul had entered Ja Hong's mother's dream. Ja Heng told his mother, "I will go to heaven to fulfill my dream of becoming a judge, and please forgive my older brother for his thoughtless moment." In the dream, the mute mother spoke, saying she had never blamed her children. She even took the blame for herself, moving everyone's hearts. Ja Hong ran to hug his mother and apologize, but the sand disappeared. King Tariq looked at the scene and said, "At this level, if the guilty one is forgiven by the living, the punishment will be lifted." He tore up the sentence because of the forgiveness of Ja Hong's mother. Thus, hell would no longer question Ja Hong, and his soul could be reincarnated. After that, the messenger of hell disguised himself as a courier and gave Ja Hong's mother the gift he had bought while he was still alive, a rice cooker that concealed his final letter to her. The film ends here. Goodbye and see you again.